Okay, chapter 14 of the book of Joshua. This is the other 9.5 tribes. So Reuben and Gad and half of Manasseh is on the east of Jordan. Everybody else is on the west of Jordan, basically. And this is what's going to happen. Now, it said just about 2 chapters ago in chapter 12, Joshua's getting old. You got to realize Joshua was alive in Egypt when Moses was around. So he remembers being in slavery. He grew up in slavery, and then he witnessed all that coming out. He was there for the 40 years of wandering. He's now there to come into the promised land. He has completed this whole cycle of Israel. He's seen them go from slavery to Egypt into their own land and inherit it themselves as well. So he's watched them a lot. And Caleb was the other spy, if you remember, that went in before they did the 40 years wandering. Joshua and Caleb were the 2 spies, and God told them, you 2 get to live to see Israel. So they're both well over 40 years old, probably in their 60s by this time. Most likely they're in their 60s at this point. So now we get the verse 1. These are the countries which the children of Israel inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun, the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel, distributed for inheritance to them. So by lot was their inheritance, as the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses, for the 9 tribes and for the half tribe. For Moses had given inheritance to the 2 tribes and a half on the other side of Jordan. But unto the Levites he gave none inheritance. So we talked about that. They're the priests. Their inheritance is administering ordinances in behalf of Israel and teaching the gospel, not growing crops and having land and stuff. So they weren't focused on wealth building at all, whereas the rest of Israel had that opportunity to fight in wars and to grow crops and to do things. So Joseph had his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Therefore they gave no part unto Levites in the land of the cities to dwell. The Lord commanded Moses, so the children of Israel did and they divided the land. This is verse 6, the children of Judah came unto Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said unto him, Thou knowest the thing that the Lord said unto Moses, the man of God, concerning me and thee in Kadesh Barnea. 40 years old was I when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to espy out the land, and brought him word against it as it was in mine heart. So this is Caleb talking here, basically. And he was 40 when he was a spy. And then it's been 40 years wandering. So Caleb's like in his 80s, basically, at this point. Verse 8, Nevertheless, my brethren that went up with me made the heart of the people melt, but I wholly followed the Lord my God. And Moses swore on that day, saying, Surely the land whereon thy feet have trodden shall be thine inheritance, thy children's forever, because thou hast wholly followed the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord hath kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years, even since the Lord spake his word unto Moses, while the children of Israel wandered in the wilderness. And now lo, I am this day 85 years old. He's 85, basically, at this point, which back then, living to 85 was a very long life. I mean, 50 was a long life back then. So 45 is doing really good. Verse 11, As yet I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now, for war both to go out and to come in. So as far as his health, he stopped in a way. While I'm sure he's literally gotten older, his health has not gotten any less from the time he was 40 to 85. Can you imagine being 85 but have the energy of a 40-year-old? That's pretty amazing. I don't know many 80-year-olds that wouldn't love that. And Caleb is the example of this because he has been preserved for that time to live, to get in and get his inheritance. So he says now, verse 12, Now therefore give me this mountain whereof the Lord spake in that day, for thou heardest in that day how the Anakims were there, and that cities were great and fenced. If so be the Lord will be with me, then I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said. And Joshua blessed him, gave unto Caleb the son of Jephunneh Hebron for an inheritance. Hebron therefore became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, unto this day, because that he wholly followed the Lord God of Israel. And the name of Hebron before was Kirjath Arba, which Arba was a great man among the Anakims, and the land had rest from war. So that gives us a little bit of background on Hebron, basically, as well, and you can look those up in the Bible dictionary to learn more about those names. So this is where Caleb and his family get to live, is they have this mountainside that they are inherited, that they were told they would inherit it 45 years earlier, and now they're finally getting that. So that's pretty cool. So let's go into chapter 15 to learn about the more divisions of the tribes as they get their lands and inheritance.